This time in the garage, we're in someone else's garage, where something pretty interesting is happening. This all started out as a man's childhood dream of being able to drive a bumper car to pick up the mail and go around the town. So anyway, this electric four-wheeler was stripped down by a friend of ours, and he's built this frame, stripped off the body, and has rebuilt this whole frame and integrated that four-wheeler electric motor, steering, rear end, the whole works. He hand built this chassis. He's got a little plasma cutter. He did some custom work on the bumper. He's made it look like it still has the original bumper on it. There's going to be a whip on there. That's the brace for the whip. It's going to have some LED lights that make it look like electricity, like a real bumper car would have. And he's just finishing off the body work on the chassis. I think he's putting he's putting bed liner on it to seal it up. And the actual body is not here right now. It's being sent out for some custom paint to another friend of a friend of a friend. And that should be back anytime soon. I didn't catch the first of the tear down and the fabrication. I wasn't around at the time, so I have some still footage. This is a 1960s vintage bumper car that was in Prince Edward Island and decommissioned. It was bought through an auction originally and then sold privately. It weighed 325 pounds when we took it to the garage. And here's some pictures of it being taken apart and fit up for its new chassis. So the tubes were bent in a manual tube bender that was converted to a hydraulic tube bender by the guy doing all the metal work. And here's what he made up. There's the original machine, electric four-wheeler that was used for the electric parts, and there's the narrow front end on the first mock-up. The car was way too high sitting on it. It looked kind of funny. So he decided to widen it out and have the wheels on the outside of the base, so he remade the whole chassis to suit. So here's the first little bit of the chassis, and he started adding the tubes to front end to get all the measurements right and the electric motors in there. I handmade the bumper out of pieces of sheet metal wrapped around tube, and you can see all the spot welds. There's a lot of welding, a lot of hours into doing this. Little front end of the wider wheel stance looks good. Some dimple dies in the foot box there, and a custom front bumper tack welded in, and some room for his feet and the steering. Here's some cool moon hubcaps that we're going to put on the trailer tires that look the part. And here's the drivetrain hooked up with the new wheels. When the body gets back and we start assembling it, I'll be able to take my videos, and you guys can see what it's going to look like to see this electric bumper car driving around the town. And here's the drivetrain. It's just a little electric motor, shaft, disc brake, chain. It's all been modified by my friend here. He doesn't like to be on camera, so he modified and lengthened all these front end parts to make this fit his chassis so that it'll be easy to drive. And here's some of the custom parts here. There's a cool little steering wheel that's going to be in it. All the electric. It's going to be full of LED lights, flashing lights, all kinds of stuff. He was able to reuse the electrics from all the controllers and gauges and stuff. And he's built his own little dash to accept all that stuff, so that'll be pretty cool. There's the axles, pretty lengthened and modified. Got our first coat of spray-on bed liner from a rattle can. Put on one full can, and it gave the metal bumper a rubberized look, which is what the look they were going for. That stuff coats really nice. I never ever used it before. But yeah, just took one full can. Probably about 3 coats, 3 laps around I think. And there we go. We got a bumper car that looks like it has a real bumper. Alright, next time when we get the body in, we'll start putting this thing back together. Stay tuned for part 2 where we get the body back on the chassis and take this thing out for a drive.